Hi, this is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the Time series episode. And here is where I endeavor to help you learn some strategies to stick to your goals, to manage your time efficiently. And I drop you some quotes that are going to help you stay focused. We have 5 episodes, and as promised, with each episode, I leave you with a tool, some wisdom that you can apply immediately. So today it's all about the super tips that we can give you for productivity. But before we get there, let's just do a recap. In episode 1, we looked at urgency versus importance. And it was William Penn who said, time is what we want, but we use the worst. So what is urgent? What is important? To be or not to be urgent, to be important is very key for us to answer. And I shared with you a tool. I do hope you've tried out this tool, the Eisenhower Matrix. You can look it up just in case it's your first time to come to Tuesday Talks. Look up Eisenhower Matrix and you'll come up with 4 quadrants. One quadrant that tells you do, another one that says schedule, another one that tells you delegate, and another one that actually just tells you delete. Because there are certain things that you need to work on so that you can be productive. So just understanding that you are able to figure out the 4 quadrants so that you can be productive. So some super tips that I'm going to be sharing with you today. If you missed that episode, you just want to go onto my YouTube page, which is LMC Consultancy. And when you're there, subscribe, hit the notification button, but also share, because there's a lot of gems over there. So that's the first one that we did, urgency versus importance. Do you know how to figure it out? We'll go to that episode and come up with a few tips, but the tool there is the Eisenhower Matrix. I know it's a mouthful, but just Google it and see the 4 quadrants and how they can help you. We moved on to episode 2, which is all about goal mastery. You see, it was Buddha who said, the trouble is you think you have enough time. We only have a 24-hour clock, but many of us leave things until the 11th hour. It's a characteristic trait. Perhaps this is who you are as you listen to me today. But this particular framework that I share with you makes you realize the kind of characteristic trait that you have. And it's called the SMART framework. Yes, I know you've heard about it before, but have you tried it after my session? Now that you've figured out what is urgent and important, have you tested your goal to the SMART framework? Whatever your goal is, it could be something you want to go on holiday. By when? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to go with? How much do you want to spend? Now we're getting nitty-gritty. Otherwise, the ambiguity of I want to go on holiday doesn't get this goal achieved. Believe you me. Maybe you're somebody who wants to go onto a nutrition diet, like a lifestyle. It's easy to say it, but if you were not specific about it, if it is not measurable by what time and how are you going to do it, what are you going to be eating? If it's not achievable or realistic, you will throw in the towel because suddenly you'll have these urges to eat outside this lifestyle. And then is it time-based? For how long are you going to be doing it so that now it becomes a lifestyle? So test that into the SMART framework, any goal that you have, and you will begin to see this productivity, this effectiveness, this efficiency, and you just prioritizing your tasks to honor this goal and to manage your time efficiently. Well, that was the second tool that I shared with you. Last week we talked about block it. Block it just meant now that you've figured out all those other 2 sessions before, now you come in and honor the time that you're going to apply. And it is Benjamin Franklin who said, lost time is never found again. So what am I encouraging you to do? Figure out, now that you know in your SMART framework what it is you want to do from the session before, come back and allocate time. So are you saying that you're going to look at your social media texts or social media framework, or you're going to be looking at how to measure it? You're going to be looking at it for 1 hour in a day? Let it be 1 hour. honor the 1 hour, because the next hour is based on something else. Maybe you're like me, that during your lunch hour, when you're sitting down and having a meal, you decide that for 45 minutes, you are going to watch an episode on Netflix or whatever channel is your favorite channel. And that is you just decompressing from what you've been doing the entire day, so you can be rejuvenated. You can get this new burst of energy. After 45 minutes, stop, because if you go beyond the 45 minutes, I want to believe you're now eating into the time of something else that you have blocked. And maybe that something else is returning calls for the next 15 minutes, because you've been busy throughout the day for maybe 4 hours, and now you say you're going to be returning calls for 15 minutes. If by the 15th minute you have not finished returning all the calls, then maybe there's another time during the day to do that. Or you could send a text. This is about blocking it, because remember, lost time is never found again. And already the hours you've already spent first thing this morning are gone. What did you do with those hours? Were they productive? Or did you allow other things to come and sabotage, to come and railroad, to come and hijack what you have planned? This is the time series, guys. And in this time series, I shall endeavor to help you learn strategies to prioritize your tasks. And that's what we're talking about. So when you're setting these goals, you will be able to manage your time efficiently. I do hope that even as you're listening to me today, I am on your calendar. That you say, I will be listening to Lucy every Tuesday talks at 3, maybe for just the first 10 minutes. And that is how you keep on moving forward. Because when you allocate time, you show up and you honor that time. And there's this sense of fulfillment. So even if you've not been with me for the entire half an hour, you will feel fulfilled because you've honored your promise to yourself. So maybe it's not Tuesday Talks at 3. Maybe it's something else. And you're saying that for my personal development, I want to do something every day for 15 minutes. So you know what? Once you throw that out into the universe, it comes back with giving you options. Suddenly, you're going to see all these online opportunities all over. They were always there. It's just that now you are intentional about it. You are attracting them. Your eyes are open to it. So super tips we continue to give you today, because as we move on to this time blocking, we are now looking at procrastination busters. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. And the question is, how can you activate a proactive mindset? How can you activate a proactive mindset? We're talking time series, right? So I'm waiting to see some of your answers here so I can sample them. Let's get engaging here. Don't keep me hanging here on my own as I talk about this time series in this month of July, because we're halfway through the year. Most of us here, and I would say 80% of us here, had goals that we had set out to do since January. But this July, whatever it is we're doing does not even resemble what we set out to do. In fact, half of the time, we cannot remember what we set out to do. And this is why July is a good time to do a check-in. Once you try to remember what it is you set out to do at the beginning of the year, you ask yourself, is that still important for me? Is that compelling enough for me to pivot now and start concentrating? Now remember, January to December is just a calendar year that I am using as an example. Today could be the first day of your goal setting. And maybe your goal setting is for 3 months, it's for 6 months, it's for 1 year, it's for 5 years, it's for 10 years. So don't get me wrong, and don't think that 12 months is the only time we can measure our growth. It's up to you. It's your life. It's not mine. You choose what is important for you. And now I just want to say thank you so much to Nyabana, you're here. Thank you so much, Nyabana, for joining you. Oh, my sister Sheila is here. So nice to see you, Sheila. Great to see you here. Let's see who else is here. Oh, wow, look at that. There's quite a few of you here, and I'm loving this, that you're joining me today for this time series. I know you can see my screen is moving. It's because I'm trying to manipulate the screen here. Esther, great to see you here. We've got Kenyans living abroad. Great to see you here, guys. Today we're talking about the time series, and time is fleeting. I mean, it was William Penn who said time is what we want most, but we use the worst. It was Buddha who said the trouble is you think you have enough time. And in our last episode, we sampled what Benjamin Franklin said. lost time is never found again. So today the question is, guys, and I want to see you here as I'm looking at my screen. I want to see you answer the question. Thank you so much for the love hearts. Is that coming from you, Nyabana? Thank you so much. The question: how do you activate a proactive mindset? Well, join me on this journey of a few minutes of just giving you some super tips to keep you present and productive every time. But you've got to remember to apply it. It's just like if you're going into, let me use an example of something that I love. I love to cook. So anytime that I'm going in to cook, I'm already thinking, what is it do I want to cook? What kind of flavors do I want to bring out? Who am I cooking for? How long is it going to take? Oh, how much food am I cooking? You got to figure out the fundamentals, right? So why don't we just start off with some super tips to stay present and productive? And the first one that I would like us to look at is, what are the causes of procrastination? Remember, it is a time series. However, the episode is about procrastination busting. Now, many of you here can relate to being a procrastinator. Things that you have set out to do and you're still not doing. Give you the example. 6-7 months ago, you said you were going to do something and you still haven't done it. Could it be procrastination? Most probably is. So identifying the causes of procrastination is the first place to be, because I say this to you and I want you to hear me as I say this. Procrastination is the effect. It's what you see, the outcome. But there's a cause, which is the underlying issue. Why are you procrastinating? So it is important that, since we know that procrastination is the effect and not the cause, we need to identify the causes of procrastination. So why do we procrastinate? We procrastinate because of things like fear. It's the fear of failure, or maybe the fear of success. At times we are so fearful of what would happen. What would happen if I was successful? This would mean more people will be listening to me. This would mean I'd be making more money that I can't handle. I've never made this kind of money before. Fear of success would mean people will start listening to me, waiting for me to give them the aha moments, and I may not be able to live up to it. Fear of success exists, guys. Maybe that's what you're experiencing right now. For me, you know that I've been saying this if you have been joining me in the past Tuesday Talks at 3. I am a self-proclaimed recovering procrastinator. I am a self-proclaimed recovering procrastinator. You see, I have a characteristic trait of being a perfectionist. So in seeking to be a perfectionist in all that I do over the years, I've ended up not delivering on things. For instance, delaying on submission of reports or projects. Instead of doing it there and then, I wait. I internalize. I question. I reflect. I revisit. And as I'm doing this, the bus is pulling out of the station, or the train, as my mother would say, is leaving. May she rest in perfect peace. She would say that train has already left. And that is because I was wasting time. It was the procrastination that was the effect. I procrastinated in sending out the project. But what was the cause? The cause is wanting to be a perfectionist. I know better now, and I look for excellence in everything that I do, because perfectionism means I may never get onto that bus leaving the station. Maybe in your personal life, you're considering that you want to do a fitness routine, and you've told everybody about it. I'm going to go into this fitness routine. I'm going to have buffed muscles, or I'm going to have abs, or I'm going to tighten my thighs. I'm going to have thighs as thick as a horse's. And because you have said this to people, you're now so afraid to start, because you're thinking fear of failure. What if I don't pull through? What will people say? So these are the causes of your procrastination. It could be fear of success, fear of failure. It could be self-doubt. Everybody's introducing you in one way or the other, and they're calling you by name, and they've got all these accolades for you, and you're like, who are they talking about? Because that's not me. That's not me. So that is you doubting your capabilities. That could lead to procrastination. Maybe there's an interview, somebody who's needed, an expertise that's needed, but you don't sign up because you do not believe in yourself. You've got self-doubt. Maybe it's imposter syndrome. You just feel that everybody's looking at you and they're going to figure out that you are a fraud. These are all the things that could be why you're procrastinating. So it's important for you to understand what your causes of procrastination are. I mean, coming back to my story, whenever an opportunity would knock, even to this day, although I'm managing my procrastination, I just walk into, or rather get into my procrastination's driver's seat. And when I do that, it kind of sabotages and slows me down. I don't know whether you hear me. And if any one of you experiences this, you can just drop it here and just say, yes. This is how I feel when something new is coming up, when I've been called up, my name's been called up, or I need to do a project, or suddenly I need to pivot and learn a new skill. What does procrastination look like for you? Mine looks like going back and forth and not delivering. And in the end, losing out on this great opportunity. I am managing it. And like I said, I'm a self-proclaimed recovering procrastinator. This is real. Well, clear to say, procrastination can hinder your self-improvement or your development. It can hinder your progress. So we need to be able to know how to manage it. It's a thing, it happens. Do you know that research shows that 20% of any population are procrastinators? That means there's another 80% that are guys who get on and get it done. But don't get me wrong, change is inevitable. So there could come a day when the winds shift for you, and you who has been a doer, think and do, have a strategy and do, suddenly you find that your energy dips, your motivation leaves the room, and you're not able to do something the way that you could do it in the past. You've become a procrastinator. Figure out why. What is happening? Did somebody say something to you one day? Did you put your heart into something and it was not appreciated? Or their expectations were so high? And usually we are our worst critics. It works at times, but at times it doesn't because it paralyzes us. So how about you? What is it that stops you from doing things? And the question remains there. And if you're still thinking, because I don't see the chat here lighting up, if you're still sitting on the fence, don't worry, I've got your back. I have a Procrastination Buster session this October. So just DM me right here. And after this call, I will give you the details of the Procrastination Buster program. This is where we're going to understand why you do what you do. This is a program that I took, and I finally realized that because I was a perfectionist, I was leaving opportunities on the table. So though being a perfectionist can be a good thing, because then you guarantee that whatever it is you submit is going to be A1 and somebody can take it to the bank, it also kills opportunities that come your way. So how do we balance this? I came up with excellence. I just need to be looking at excellence in everything that I do. Great to see you here. Natasha, oh, great to see you. Lovely to see you. Miss Kenyara. We're talking about the time series. And in the time series, we're talking about procrastination. Jane Adam, great to see you. Karibu sana. When we have looked at the causes of procrastination, and you've learned from me where my procrastination comes from, it's time now to combat. And when we combat this procrastination, we're looking at strategies. Now that you know what you know, what kind of strategies can you put forward to make things happen? Let's go back to my example. So I'm a self-proclaimed procrastinator. You have heard that my characteristic trait of wanting perfectionism makes me lose on opportunities. I've lost jobs. I've lost projects. I've lost promotions because I'm overthinking. Again, it doesn't help that I'm an introvert. I know some of you are thinking, how can you be an introvert, Lucy? Well, right now I'm wearing my hat of being an extrovert, but I'm naturally an introvert. And because of that, I am a deep thinker. And because I'm a deep thinker and I've got perfectionism on the fence there, I tend to take longer at times when there's a lot riding on something. There's so much risk that I could lose a lot. So let's use my example. So what I did is, in the past, I would take on the whole mountain. I would take on the whole elephant, until I realized I don't need to do that. A mountain is climbed a step at a time. An elephant, for those of you who know this saying, an elephant is eaten one bite at a time. That means, translated, is break your tasks your big tasks into smaller tasks. And once you do that, great to see you there, John. Once you break them into smaller tasks, then my perfectionism is manageable. I am able to look at this in the entirety and the context that it is in and deal with it. And when I'm done, I move on to the next step. And this has helped me a lot. So that is a strategy that I encourage you to have. What is your elephant? What is your mountain? How about breaking it into small steps or into small bites? Thank you, Jonathan. Today we're talking about time series and being able to identify the causes in procrastination that stops you going for your goals. And now we are combating this same procrastination by breaking down the elephant or breaking down the mountain into bits that we can manage. Because once you understand whether your procrastination is coming from fear of failure, whether it's coming from fear of success, whether it's coming from self-doubt, whether it's coming from imposter syndrome, or whether in my case it's coming from being a perfectionist, once you figure that out, then your strategies begin to make sense. So start by identifying the root causes, like I said, whether it's fear, failure, we've already been through that. Understand that once you do that, there are certain intentional action plans, and we are calling them actionable techniques to overcome it. Procrastination is the effect, not the cause. So we are dealing with the cause now. We are dealing with the fear of failure. And by dealing with the fear of failure, we have broken down this big mountain into small tasks. I hope I am speaking to somebody out there. And today, whatever it is that you need to do to be present is around breaking this mountain into smaller steps. Because that way it's achievable. And guess what? When you achieve something, you get momentum. You take another step and you take another step. But when you keep on having failures, or as I call them, lessons, at times it stifles your growth. And your motivation and your energy just dies. It's as if somebody sucks it out of you. This is where we're talking about implementing the actionable techniques. Things that will keep you ahead. For me, what I did with my phone, because my phone is my work tool. So I find that when I'm speaking on my phone, or in fact nowadays I have my little earphones right there because I'm multitasking. When that happens, and multitasking for me at times, half of the time doesn't work very well, because then I don't stay focused on what I'm doing and I have to keep on repeating. But when I stay on one task, I find I master it and I never have to repeat it. But anyway, I was talking about my phone. When I'm multitasking, I realized that when I start working on something, and just like now, I can see my timeline is moving. I see something of interest that I was thinking about yesterday, and I make the mistake to click on it because it's a notification. And then it's a rabbit hole from there. I forget what I was doing. Remember the Block It series, where for that 1 hour I was meant to do one particular task. But because I responded to a notification, I rob that 1 hour and I use it for something else. And half of the time, I am not effective or productive and I don't stay present. So being able to delete those notifications or mute those notifications, or perhaps you want to disconnect your channel service, whatever it is that's a distraction that is going to be used as an example when you feel uneasy in doing something. So instead of continuing with it till the end, you say, well, let me just answer this one phone call. Let me just respond to this TikTok post. Let me just look at this application that has come up. Let me consider this notification. Those are distractions, guys. And it sabotages your calendar. In fact, our last session, which is going to be next week, is going to be mastering your schedule. We're going to talk a bit more next week on that. But for now, we want to take away all those distractions. But you need to know that they do exist. So make sure that you have got actionable techniques. In my case, I'm breaking down that mountain. What about you? John, you say, very, very key, identifying the cause. Recently, I have had this issue. This is just for me. Well, great. I'm happy that I'm speaking to you, John, and I'm happy I'm speaking to somebody here because these are practical. And today, I'm promising you super tips that you can plug and play immediately. So revisit your mountain. Maybe you didn't even know it was a mountain. If you're feeling uneasy about it, go back to it and see whether you can break down. In fact, an idea has just come to my mind. It's like project management. So anybody who is a project manager will tell you that once you have been given the scope, is this very big thing. Your work as a project manager is to go and break it down into timelines, into tasks, into deliverables, into measurabilities. Again, do you see the SMART framework is coming in? Do you see the Eisenhower matrix, the tool that I shared with you when we started off the time series is coming in? Therefore, this project manager now knows, what do we need to do now? What do we need to schedule? What do we need to delegate? What do we need to delete? Because perhaps the dream was so big that some of those things were dreams that were not tangible. You couldn't make them into action plans. So those are the things that you delete so that you spend that focus on doing what needs to get done. So just like in project management, there needs to be actionable techniques. And it's the big thing. Only the project manager sees the big picture. The rest of you see the smaller pictures that you've been given. But at the end of the day, when that event is a success, everybody's saying, wow, how things were so seamless, so effective, how things were so empowering. It was because we took one bite at a time. So Jonathan, I'm hoping that I'm speaking to you and I'm saying that this aha moment that you have received is real. So it is present. I want you to plug and play now. And I'd love to hear back from you how effective being able to combat and have some strategies for your procrastination has worked for you. So what about busting procrastination as we come to the end of our session? It's about shifting your mindset. It's about building a proactive mindset. So how do we do this? How do you have this mind shift from one to the other? Because in a mind shift means that there's something you've been doing for a long time, so it comes as second nature. Now we are shifting it. It's simple. It's just having a growth mindset. Instead of sticking to a place where you're saying, I have done this forever, guys, it's always worked. How about having a growth mindset and opening up yourself to new opportunities? So if you're facing any challenges right now in your life, and I'm speaking right now as you're listening to Tuesday Talks at 3, I want you to shift your mindset, have a proactive mindset, and consider how these challenges that you're experiencing can be an opportunity. I know it's not easy because you've been looking at the challenges as something negative. I'm now asking you to engage with looking at a challenge as a possibility of a positive outcome, I beg your pardon. So important to do that. Once you get into the habit of doing this, and we're told a habit takes 21 days to form, and in just one day you can lose it, then you want to do the 21 days, then continue to practice so that your mind now begins to look at any challenge that you have as an opportunity. Look at entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. They take on their challenges as opportunities, and they take on their win-win situations as a momentum build-up. So whether they are failing or having lessons at something, they take it as a learning opportunity and opportunities to be better. If they have managed to get something right, that goal we're talking about, and you've managed to achieve it after your 3 months instead of 6 months, or you've managed to climb that mountain, in literally 3 months of training, whatever it is for you, use that as a place to catapult. Use the best practices. What did I do right that I can replicate in another area that I'm struggling? So it's a win-win. Whether you are failing and having learnings or whether you're succeeding, this is what busting procrastination is. Because the minute that you start to see you're winning one way or the other with opportunities and momentum, anytime you feel drawn back, and that's in my case, you feel that you need to be a perfectionist, that's my case, excellence works. And because now excellence is my motto, I find myself moving seamlessly. But because I'm a recovering procrastinator, I do get pulled back. And recently I got an amazing project. And it took me 2 days to respond. And guess what? I lost the chance. Again, I'm a recovering procrastinator. So I have my moments. But then I'm reminded what I needed to do. I need to look at this as an opportunity and go for it and ask the questions I need to be asking. So developing a proactive mindset is very crucial, because once you do this, you view your challenges as opportunities for growth. So as we come to the end, I'd like to just give us a summary of our session today. The question was, how do you activate a proactive mindset? And since procrastination is the effect and not the cause, then you want to be able to control this cause. What is your cause? What is your cause? Is it perfectionism like me? Is it the imposter syndrome like me? Is it self-doubt like me? Is it the fear of failure like me? Is it the fear of success? Whoa, like me. We all face almost the same kind of fears and the things that are holding us back. But by being present to the positive outcomes of your presence, look at you, because that's what you're guaranteed, the present that we have now. The past is gone and with it has come lessons. The future is not promised. But what you do today is going to impact the future if you make it to the future. So why not enjoy the present? So being able to have this kind of presence reduces your procrastination trait. And I'm telling you this because I know it works. I am literally your guinea pig when it comes to that. Well, here we have some takeaways for you. Super tips, as I promised you, to manage procrastination. These are absolutely super tips. Number one, recognize your triggers. Whatever it is, recognize what makes you procrastinate. Implement actionable techniques. Make sure that your steps, your smaller tasks are working for you. You've got some strategies right there. Celebrate it and keep on celebrating. Great to see you there. Salish, lovely to see you there. And as we look at implementing, lastly, cultivate. I want you to be able to cultivate a proactive mindset. What needs to shift? And once you decide what needs to shift, you need to keep at it. So overcoming procrastination involves understanding these causes, therefore recognizing the triggers and applying effective strategies to foster that proactive mindset. And I can assure you, once you do this, you already see a shift in the things that you're delivering. You'll be present. You'll not be thinking about, oh, but I used to do this, it didn't work. And neither will you have the anxiety and the stress of the future because you've got the present correct. It is a gift. Well, thank you so much for being with me today, this afternoon. It's been a pleasure talking to you about procrastination busting. Steve Jobs says, your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. Your time is limited, so don't waste it by living somebody else's life. May the procrastination buster tips help you to be present and productive today. And if you're feeling challenged, remember, I've got the procrastination busting training in October. Drop me a DM here and I will share you some details how you can join us in October for that. What is coming up, and that's why it's in October, what is coming up right now is my vision board revisiting. And we're doing that this Saturday. Thank you so much for those of you who have signed up. We are full house and we have closed it now. We're going to be talking about how far we have come. Well, the recording of this particular session will be up on my YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy. Hop on there, hit the subscription button, the notification button, and share widely. Share widely. I need more likes. I need to get up to certain likes where I can start doing my Tuesday Talks at 3 on YouTube. Having talked about that on my TikTok, I need you to visit me there and give me more likes so that I can also do my Tuesday Talks over there. I'm very sure there's a whole other community that is waiting to share this information also with the rest of the world. Our social media platforms continue to engage you and educate you. Now, here's my question. Have you listened to my podcast, Season 2, Episode 2? On this podcast, my daughter and I talk about conflict resolution. Mother and daughter talking about conflict resolution. You definitely want to listen to it. It's all of 5 minutes. Drop me a DM here and I will give you the link so that you can go and sample it and be able to listen to it. I look forward to seeing you next week as we finish off Tuesday Talks in this season. And then we will take a break for a month and we'll be back in the month of September. Let us help build one another. And until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.